Welcome to another episode of the Jampack Report, today for Tuesday, December the 29th of 2020. Slowly but surely, the year is winding down. Of course, my name is Samuel Adams, and this is a daily gaming news podcast meant to bring you the hottest news you need to know from around the industry. Hosted on YouTube and podcast services around the world 5 days a week, it is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know. So if you enjoy the show and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and keep coming back for more. But today I have some good news for Bayonetta fans. It looks like the game is still in development. That's the most shallow update imaginable, but it is worth reporting on. And on top of that, Project G.G is also a go. Yes, Bayonetta 3 is still happening, according to an update by PlatinumGames Hideki Kamiya during an interview with Famitsu. The Japanese gaming publication ran its annual end-of-year creator interviews where it sat down with 110 Japanese developers to learn what they are up to and their development goals for 2021. The piece provides updates on studios big and small, including Atlus, Konami, Team Ninja, and of course Platinum. Hideki Kamiya reaffirms a statement he made earlier this year by once again confirming that Bayonetta 3 is still in development. He acknowledges the fans' concern over the long-awaited project and says that verifications on new systems have been going great and development is going very well. By new systems, Kamiya likely means gameplay systems and not new consoles, since Bayonetta 3 is being published by Nintendo as a Switch exclusive. The highly anticipated sequel was announced at the Game Awards in 2017, and we have not heard much about it since, outside of vague development plans. Kamiya also states that work on Project G.G, Platinum's mysterious new project announced in February, has finally begun moving forward. For those who don't remember, this is the giant robot vs. kaiju game billed as the powerful climax to the Hideki Kamiya superhero trilogy. Project G.G is part of the Platinum 4, alongside the Wonderful 101 Remastered and 2 unannounced titles. For those wondering, there is no new update for Babylon's Fall, the other title Platinum Games is working on that we have not heard from in a minute. Gematsu has a nifty abridged translation of the Famitsu full series of interviews, which I encourage reading, the author says, if you want the skinny on some of your favorite Japanese developers, some of which are not often covered by Western outlets. So good news, Bayonetta 3 and Project G.G are still in development. The bigger news here is that Project G.G has started, but Bayonetta 3 is the bigger news story here for the majority of the gaming population, because people love Bayonetta. As a matter of fact, in January, I'm planning on digging into the Bayonetta remaster that was released as a bundle with the Platinum Games collection alongside Vanquish, but of course, I do want to bring up one more point before we move on. This comes from Ferris Wheel Pro, Joey Ferris over on Twitter from GameXplain if you did want to check him out and drop him a follow. He writes, "This game was announced 3 years ago and to my knowledge has not had its development restarted. This is getting kind of ridiculous." Yes, that is kind of the point that I want to make. While it is good to have these repeated confirmations that the game is still in development and the game is doing well, it's getting a bit much because, again, this is not a Cyberpunk 2077, this is not a Red Dead Redemption 2, this is not a Grand Theft Auto 6, this is just it's a Bayonetta game. Come on. And again, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes. I don't know how the development itself is actually going beyond what has been shared publicly. But the good news is, it is still happening. So if you are looking forward to Bayonetta 3, you're not ruling out a 2021 release, because ultimately this feels like one of those games where there will be a direct in March and it will come out in August and all things will be fine. But it very well could be stuck in development hell. However, development still is continuing. Definitely interested in Project G.G to learn more about that. But Platinum Games is a company that has been growing on me over the years, and it's good to see that it is on its way. But moving on to the next story of the day, an Xbox One game has been unexpectedly canceled 2 months before release. An upcoming Xbox One game has been unexpectedly canceled 2 months before release, writes the first sentence of this article that repeats the title, and in the process has raised questions about censorship on the platform. This week, developer Inti Creates announced that the Xbox One version of its lewd game, Galgun Returns, has been canned for inscrutable reasons. In the statement, the developer notes the game's development on Xbox One is complete and the master ROM is currently under review. However, after discussions with Microsoft, it's decided to not just halt this progress, but throw it away altogether, and it's not exactly clear why, but the developer does seemingly hint at an issue of censorship. According to Inti Creates, it would be unable to ensure consistency of experience across all platforms if it were to release the game on Xbox One, which is why this version is being canned. Again, no direct reference to censorship, but the language used certainly suggests that's at the heart of the issue. Today, we would like to announce that we will no longer be releasing Galgun Returns on the Xbox family of consoles, reads the statement. As a remaster of the original Galgun, we wanted to strive to ensure that we stayed true to the spirit of the first entry in the Galgun series, and while development of the Xbox version was complete and the master ROM under review, it became apparent, after productive discussion with Microsoft, that we would be unable to ensure consistency of experience across all platforms. As a result, we have decided to refocus attention to Nintendo Switch and PC for the upcoming release of Galgun Returns. We understand the disappointment from everyone who is looking forward to playing the game on Xbox One and would like to thank everyone in their ongoing support. Please accept our sincerest apologies for this change in the planned release. We hope you enjoy the Galgun experience on other platforms. We look forward to continuing working with Microsoft on other P-Cube releases going forward. While the Xbox One version of the game is being cancelled, the developer notes the Switch version is still scheduled to hit on January 28th, 2021 in Japan, and 1 month later on February 12th in North America and Europe alongside the PC version. At the moment of publishing, Inti Create has not added the above statement in any capacity, and meanwhile Microsoft has said zero about the latter. So, or I should say matter actually, not ladder. So the Xbox One version of Galgun Returns has been canceled, and ultimately I do think this is probably one of those censorship situations, because as the author notes, it is a lewd game. It is a remake of the original Galgun, and so ultimately it might not be in line with what Microsoft wants to present on the front of its Xbox store going into a new year filled with new consoles, and quite frankly, that's their choice, because they can put whatever on their storefront that they would so choose. So, with that being said, if you were looking forward to Galgun Returns, it looks like your only options are going to be Switch and PC. So, you better pick up a Switch if you don't already have one, or go ahead and install Steam on your PC. But a huge bummer for those that are fans of Galgun. I'm not one of them, but there are plenty out there, so I'm sure somebody was looking forward to that game. But to round out today's show, filming has wrapped on Sony's Resident Evil horror movie reboot. Johannes Roberts is directing a feature film, Resident Evil Reboot, for Constantine Film, and we've learned that filming has now wrapped. Sony made the announcement yesterday afternoon via a tweet, which reads, "That's a wrap in Raccoon City. Giant clapping board that you know from movies that makes the noise that clips the scenes. Directed by Johannes Roberts, and in directed you have the R-E capitalized, because it's Resident Evil. Ha 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 ha." But fantastic news here, because while the previous movies and TV shows have been received in a mixed kind of way, I feel like there is still a huge potential for a Resident Evil reboot if it's done properly, because there's a renewed interest in Resident Evil right now. For a while, the games began to decline in popularity, but with the remaster of Resident Evil 2 and somewhat the remaster of Resident Evil 3, but also the rebirth with Resident Evil 7 and the upcoming Resident Evil 8, you definitely have a lot to look forward to here, and I would love to see where they continue to go with a Resident Evil reboot. I want to see more of the horror element explored. So what I'm trying to say is, while I'm excited to see what the Umbrella Corporation is up to in this origin story with the exploration of Raccoon City, I also want to see more unique explorations. I want to see these Resident Evil 7 plot lines explored more, because that would make a fantastic TV show or a fantastic horror film. And the same would go for Resident Evil 8, which is known as Resident Evil Village, but definitely looking forward to seeing what they have to offer here. Kind of surprised it's not going straight to Netflix or like a Hulu or an HBO Max, but we will see what happens in 2021, but that movie is officially on the way to the directors and editors bin. But that rounds out today's episode of the Jampack Report. If you enjoyed today's show, drop me a like down below, and of course let me know what you think about everything we talked about here today. But are you looking forward to Bayonetta 3, and how do you feel about the new Resident Evil movie? Would love to hear your thoughts. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon, and peace.